Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your trusted weather source, bringing you weather without all that social media hype. Here on your Friday, February 28th, 2025. Let's go and take a look at what we're tracking here for today. I'm going to give you an update on your weekend forecast, which really isn't looking too bad for a lot of the country. We'll take a look at the latest on that. We're going to talk about the midweek severe weather. We're still tracking that for your Tuesday and Wednesday, and I'll show you the areas that you really need to be concerned for the potential for a few tornadoes that are possible. And then we're also going to talk about some more cold shots coming down as we follow on behind this storm heading into the end of next week. Now, before we get going, I first want to welcome aboard any new subscribers here on the channel. And if you have not yet decided to subscribe just yet, please do me the honor and the pleasure. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button there in that lower right-hand corner. Hit the notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, please leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up, as it does help with the YouTube algorithm, at least a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here at the satellite picture here from coast to coast. Really not that bad. Pretty quiet. We do have some snows across the Great Lakes, exiting storm system off the eastern seaboard. And going here on the west coast, you have an upper level low that's kind of tracking in here across Southern California and another system off the coast. But again, really not looking too bad here across the country. Look at the big snapshot here. Again, with that little clipper system moving in, the only thing we do have to worry about is some high wind advisories here. Looking at windy advisories here from basically portions of Kentucky, stretching all the way back into the Dakotas. There's some high wind warnings up there right along the North Dakota and Minnesota border there. And these, of course, are red flag warnings for that low humidity in place. So, but pretty quiet here across a big portion of the country. So as we look at our surface map right now, again, not too bad here. It's, I'll call it seasonably cool, not really overly bad, but we are going to see some colder temperatures eventually working their way down. The first big shot kind of coming down going in towards Sunday, really kind of cool things off across the eastern third of the United States. Let's go ahead and zoom in and take a look at some of the snow up here across areas of Michigan here for this morning. Some pretty good heavy bursts of snow here coming across the upper portion area. They're just to the northeast of Traverse City, and that'll continue to push off toward the east, eventually kind of moving into areas of the northeast as we go into today and into tomorrow. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about the Storms Prediction Center outlook here over the next several days. The one good thing is, at least for today, you don't have to worry about any thunderstorms. We're going to go ahead and take you through the next 3 days here, basically through your weekend. So going to your day 2, we got a little pocket there showing up with that upper level low. May set off a few thunderstorms there across portions of Arizona going into your Saturday. And as far as your day 3 going into Sunday, we got a couple of pockets there to watch out here in the plains from Nebraska down toward Texas, and again, California into Nevada and into Utah. So a couple of areas there, but at least no severe expected through the weekend. Weekend's looking pretty good. That does change, however, as we go in towards your Tuesday. This is our area of concern for right now. This is going Tuesday into Wednesday morning. You notice we've got that big area here showing the orange, a 30% chance of seeing some severe weather in this area. This is where the dynamics are going to be the best. Also, the area that's probably going to have the best instability, and that's my bullseye zone for potential tornadoes. Now, right now, I'm not expecting a major outbreak. I think we'll probably be in the slight, possibly enhanced area for severe weather in this zone, and we might see a few isolated tornadoes. But for right now, I'm not expecting a huge outbreak, but of course that could change as we get closer to the said event. Now, as we continue later into the week, going into Wednesday, obviously we'll be tracking this area across Georgia and the Carolinas as that storm system pushes off toward the east here going in through next week. So let's go ahead and look at the latest model data. We're going to talk about that storm system, the one that's going to bring us that potential severe weather. We're going to look at the jet stream. That's our river of air that kind of drives our weather features here. This is the upper low that's coming into California right now, but it's this trough back here off the Pacific coast that we're going to watch that's going to be responsible for this severe weather event as it moves into Tuesday. So we're going to bring this forward. You notice we got this big dip in the jet stream here going in toward your Sunday. This was going to bring our cool down here across the eastern third of the United States here briefly. Definitely a hit and run for Sunday into Monday, but it'll quickly retreat out as we watch for this next system to dig on down. Again, we're watching that system dig into through California throughout the day on Monday. So here's that trough right here that's going to be moving in across the middle of the country and headed toward the southeast. And as it makes this pivot as we go into the day on Tuesday, you notice we've got a low pressure here setting across Colorado. And we got a jet that's kind of doing this. This is kind of divergence that adds additional wind shear and wind spin in the atmosphere there. That's why I'm a little concerned about that potential severe weather as this progresses off toward the east as we go throughout the day on Tuesday and into Wednesday. So again, that is when it's going to be at its strongest. Notice the jet streams here is about the strongest here going in toward late into Tuesday, going into Wednesday. So again, those areas there across portions of the Mid-South need to be very, very watchful of this particular event as it comes on into Tuesday and Wednesday. Now, this will quickly exit on out as we go in toward your Thursday. And then we're going to watch a very big dip in the jet stream. Check this out. I mean, this is a very strong dip in the jet stream here. Some very cold air coming in here across the eastern half of the United States as we go into your Saturday and Sunday, the 8th and 9th of March. And there'll be a little bit of snow thrown in there as well in some locations. And this will quickly kind of move on off as we go in throughout next weekend. And then kind of flattens out with a kind of a zonal flow here across the country. No real big storm systems here as we kind of wrap up the 14th and 15th. So we get to at least catch our collective breaths for at least a minute before we track the next storm system, I'm sure, later into the month. So let's look at your high resolution model data here. We're going to take you through the weekend. We're going to watch this snow here come in here across areas of the Northeast. We're also going to watch another system out here out in California. Watch that timestamp there in the upper right-hand corner as I take you through this here. As again, we watch that snow come in across areas of the Northeast. Again, kind of a hit and run there as that cold air kind of settles on in. Yes, we'll go and get some of that lake effect snows to kick in as well as we go throughout the day on your Friday and into Saturday. And as we go and take this on through, as we go in toward the end of the model run, going into Saturday night, that's when we'll start to see some of this rain here come up on the west coast here across Northern California and into portions of Oregon as we go into, say, Saturday and going into Sunday morning. All right, let's go ahead and take this further. We'll go ahead and track this on the European model here as we take you through the weekend. Again, watch that big cold spot here come on in here as we go in towards Sunday morning. Notice the 540 freezing line. That is our cold air depth really far south here across the eastern third. Not bad. Pretty mild out here in the west. Of course, we got a little that rain here coming in across the west coast going into your Sunday morning that we'll watch closely. And then we'll watch the system behind that one. That's going to be the one responsible for the big system to kind of kick in as we go in toward your Tuesday. So this is the upper level system coming into Southern California on late in the day on Monday. And as this thing quickly ejects out into the plains, that's when we'll have to watch that severe weather going into your Tuesday. So as we go in throughout the day on your Tuesday, well, things will get a little bit stormy. We'll have to watch Arkansas, again, going in toward Mississippi and into areas of Louisiana. Got a little snow on the backside of this heading into Colorado as well with that upper low sitting right there and the surface low developing right in that area. So as we go throughout the day on Tuesday into Wednesday, this low will track up into the Ohio River Valley, tracking behind it a pretty decent squall line that'll be kind of extending here across the south. And then again, this thing will move off toward the east, bringing some snows into the Great Lakes, and then moving off the eastern seaboard with just some cold air kind of wrapping it behind this thing. Coming in, maybe some snows there across the areas of the Smoky Mountains going into your Thursday morning. So let's go ahead and track the thunderstorm threat on this. I want to go over to the K-index on that same storm system. Again, the K-index is an indication of where your thunderstorms are going to be the highest. And you see the higher the number, the higher the chance of seeing thunderstorms. Not necessarily an indication of whether it's severe or not, just tells me where the thunderstorms are going to be. So as we go and track this, as we go into the afternoon, we see this across areas of Arkansas, coming into Louisiana and through Mississippi, going into the late afternoon hours on Tuesday. I'm sure that's where all the chasers are going to be. And then we see a pretty intense squall line going in toward Tuesday night and Wednesday morning as that begins to move off toward the east. And I'll switch over to the southeast view here as we'll see it tracking Alabama going into your Wednesday morning. And then this moves on and across the state of Georgia and then on out the sea as we go into Thursday morning. So that's right now is your current track for those thunderstorms. So switching back over to the European precipitation mode as we go ahead and watch this storm system again move on out. In its wake, we're going to see pretty decent weather for at least the day. Going Friday doesn't look too bad across the country. We do have a little bit of rain here across the northwest. Weak system here across the middle portion of the country that'll track across the southeast going throughout the day on Friday. And that little system across the southeast, once it moves on by, that big trough really kicks in. I was just showing you there. Going into your Sunday afternoon. Notice the freezing line almost all the way down here to Florida. So some very cold temperatures here across the eastern third. Not sure why the European is lighting all this green up in here. I guess maybe it's just a little bit too mild down at the surface, but I would suspect some of this, especially across the Ohio River Valley, will be snow and not rain. But again, on the light side on that as this moves on through. Cold air begins to retreat out on the 10th and 11th, and then we got another storm system coming out here on the west coast going into the 11th and 12th. You can see the heavy snows there across the Sierra Nevada going into that period. Again, we're beyond 10 days. We're just kind of getting an idea of the forecast trends right now. And then we'll have to watch and see what happens toward the end of this run. Of course, this is very long range here. Hopefully this doesn't come true because I do not like seeing that pink stuff. That's that freezing rain there across portions of Wisconsin going back over to Pennsylvania and southern New York as we head into the 13th and 14th. And this moves on out. So again, looks like the pattern will stay a little more active for March than what we saw, say, the last week in February. That is for sure. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the precipitation chances here. Let's go ahead and look at this as we go ahead and switch on over. Again, you're going to see through the weekend. I'll take you out for the first 72 hours here. Again, some of this will be snow here across this area. Got some rains out here on the west coast, but really not bad going in toward your Sunday. But then as we go on out for the entirety of this run, go out for the first 10 days, you'll see that next storm system there as we go in toward the middle of the week. That's going to be responsible for the rains there. So we got a pretty wet and rainy pattern here across the eastern half of the United States and into the northwest going out to the 10th. And then we'll take this all the way out to the end of its run here. Again, kind of holding up with that wet and rainy pattern out there on the west coast, especially California. Really sees a lot more activity here across areas of Northern California, even getting down into the Southern California area there with some of the rainfall. So let's go ahead and look at the snow totals. Let's look at that, see how that's going to behave. Again, for the weekend, not a whole lot of snow for you snow lovers out there. Wish I had better luck for you there, but not looking bad across most of the country. We've got a little snow across areas of the Great Lakes and into the Northeast, and a few mountain snows out there in California, but that's about it for the weekend. So no big snows for the weekend, but as we go out to 240, that changes up a little bit here as we get some snows here across the New England area, maybe here across the areas of the Smokies, and of course the Intermountain region with a few storm systems moving in out there. We'll see some more snows as well. And then we'll take this to the end of the run here as we get some really nice little bursts of snow there on the end of this run, especially across the Sierra Nevada of California. And more snows here across the Northeast, one of the snowiest winters they've had. What's been really bad this winter is the fact that we've had this kind of this donut hole of lack of snow there in the middle of the country there, like Minnesota, Iowa, and in Missouri. They've definitely not been near their seasonable norms for this year. So let's go ahead and track the cold air here again as we're looking at today. We've got that one cold shot coming down here for this upcoming weekend here across the eastern third. See that very well here for your Sunday morning. We almost cut the country right in half there as we're cool here and warm here. And that's not the first time we'll see that. We'll see that a couple times here on this latest model run. So this begins to move on out. And then we're going to watch that class going into Tuesday. So here's our battle line. Here's our battle zone here as we watch these two air masses clash with each other with that next storm system across the south. This will move on off to the east and bring in its wake some cooler weather there into Thursday and Friday. And then we got that next little weak system that'll bring in another cold shot coming on down. Once again, boom, going in toward the 10th. Once again, you're going to cut the country right in half. It's warm here in the west. It is colder here in the east. A couple of these shots here on this model run. And then we'll see this thing slowly begin to pull on out for the weekend. Things begin to modify here a little bit going through the 11th and 12th. And then toward the end of the run here, you can see it kind of cool across the northern tier and warmer in the south. So a little bit different. We'll cool it up right up here, but warmer here across the deep south, heading toward the 14th of March. So let's go ahead and wrap things up first and take a look at the Climate Center outlook here. As again, I would say this is probably the smart thing to do. Keep it near normal. When you get these fluctuations, let's just look at the average for the most part. So near normal here in the east, and you're looking cooler out here in the west, a couple of pockets of above normal temperatures, the March 5th through the 9th. And then we go from the 7th to the 13th. I don't know. We'll see about this. Cold in the west, near normal here in the east, warmer in the middle of the country. And of course, the long-range model now is saying, nope, we're going to see cold out here. So this particular model might change a little bit. Again, we're looking for model consistency above anything above 7 days. So this 8 to 14 outlook right now is definitely one that's in flux. So we'll pay attention for changes there. Looking at your precipitation outlook, looking above normal here across the east and out on the west coast. This looks pretty reasonable here as far as the 6 to 10 day is concerned. And I'm not too sure about the 7th to the 13th. Obviously, if the temperature profile is wrong, this could be wrong too. So again, looking at above normal here in the east and active out here in the west and near normal in the middle of the country. So the climate prediction folks, when they have to deal with spring type weather, a little bit of a headache, a little bit of a nightmare for those guys. That is for sure, because you're looking for a model consistency. And right now, I would say it's been very much in flux here for a little while with the overall jet stream pattern. You're trying to get a lock on that. So definitely more progressive, definitely more active. We got that round of severe weather we're going to have to deal with going into your Tuesday and Wednesday, and we'll be tracking this not only here, but also on my local channel over on Facebook as well, as we'll be tracking that severe weather here across the southeast. Again, I always advise everybody to make sure that if they haven't got one of these weather radios, go ahead and get that. Get ready for severe weather season. Great tool to have there in your place, and have that thing go off, especially at nighttime. I hate nighttime thunderstorms, and we're going to have a few of that, especially going into Tuesday night and into Wednesday of this upcoming week. All right, that's y'all's update for now. Again, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, it'll be an honor and privilege to be one of your sources out there in the YouTube universe. God knows there's plenty of them out there, and I'd appreciate your support here on the channel. All right, that's y'all's update for now. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next update. Bye, guys.